we now begin step 14, and for step 14 we need to take our axle, our front axle, and if you remember, our front axle was the one we built in step 10, and we can identify this one because remember there was the component part A on the left and B on the right on these cups and joins. So that's our one with the 15-degree angle, remember? So just refer back to your step 10 to get your correct axle. We need some components that we built in the previous step in 13. So we need our rods, we need our servo bed, and we need our servo. We also need these components here, which is F5 and F6, these like front bars, like the front bumper bars. And we also need, from the component bags, we need BA2s, so we need 7 of these. These are the 3x22 millimeters. These are silver in color, so that's hence the clear color on the diagram. And we also need these BA5s, which are the 3x15 millimeters. These are shaded in on the diagram, so again you can identify those. We also need a couple of the lock nuts. These are the ones with the little nylon inside, so we need 2 of those. They're the BA12s, the 3mm lock nuts. We also need some 3mm nuts, the standard ones, which are the BA13s, not with the nylons, as they say. We also need these 3mm washers, 2 of those, the BB4s. And of course BA20s, the 6mm ball connector nut, we need 2 of those. And we need to assemble this onto our front axle with a little bit of thread lock on the screws. As you may recall, inside here was the captivated nuts that we put in, you may remember. Okay, so let's break down step 14 into 2 parts. So we take our front axle and we take our F5 part. We need to locate here and here, and we need to take a couple of our BA2s, which are the longer screws, the silver ones. Pop that down through there, collect that. Same again on the other side, collect that side. And now what we need to do is got a couple of the BA12s, which are the locking nuts on here. So just pop a couple of these ones on here and just get them started. That one of those. So no thread lock on these because we're using the locking nuts instead. Make it a little bit easier. Great, now I need to get my screwdriver and hold this at the same time, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So at the same time, that's nice and tight, not going nowhere. Okay, now we need to take our servo bed. Okay, and we've got these 2 6mm ball nut at the top, remember, so we need to screw these down onto these holes here, here and here. So they're going to go like that. So we need to take a couple of the BA15s, oh sorry, the BA5s, which are the 3x15s, and we need to pop a couple of screws here and here at the back, okay, with a little bit of thread lock, of course. So that's that bit on now, so just nip that up so it's tight. That's not going anywhere. And now we need to take our arm, which is the shorter one, and this is the one with the collar inside. And we need to take again one of the silver screws, which are the BA2s, the longer ones, and we need to collect the so we need to collect this top here, and we need to collect the outer of the two. So that goes through, and that goes through, and then underneath here we need to put a BA2, but we also need to put a little bit of thread lock on. So let's pop a little bit of thread lock on there, look, like so. Okay, and then we'll collect that there. There we go. Then what we also need to do is then move on to the next half of that. Okay, one more bit over here, don't we? Because we've put this one over here, so we need to take our 3x15mm and we need to pop that through the outer hole and collect another one of these BA20s, but this time a little bit of thread lock on there as well. I'm going nowhere. So that's that half of step 14, and we can then move on to the next half of step 14. So in the next section of step 14, we need to take the BA2s and a couple of the 3mm washers, and we need to get those together like that. And we need to pop those in there, okay. And we're going to do a test fit here, because there's a little diagram here that talks about if the steering rod fouls on the axle cover when you pop the servo in, use B6s, which are these two spacers. Now let's pop this in and have a little look and see how it works. I won't put the thread lock on at the moment because I just want to do a test fit. Always worth doing a quick dry run first. And I do believe, yeah, I think we are gonna need, because that is gonna foul, I think. So I think we are gonna need those spacers, yeah, the B6 spacers. So I'm gonna need to quickly take this back off again, put the B6 spacers in between the servo and the servo mounting components, the B7 and the B8s. So I just need to pop that off and I'll be back to you in a moment. Okay, so what I've done is taken off the steering assembly, the servo assembly again, with the B7 and B8 parts, and popped in a B6 part in between to step this out a little bit. And it does say use 3x15mm screws instead of the 3x10mm screws, sorry, the 3x12mm screws that we had. So we just need a little bit more. So let's do another dry run. That should, yeah, that steps out a bit more, so that's good. So what we need to do is pop the servo back into place. So we've got that in there, and pop that across on there. And now we need to pop a little bit of thread lock on the end of our BA2s with a washer, and then pop a little bit of thread lock on there. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, that clears the axle housing now. Okay, so now we need to do the rest of these. So we need to pop the, this is the F6 part, yeah. And we need to collect that hole and that hole, and this hole and this hole. So we got quite a few of the holes to collect like that. It's like a bumper system at the front. So we're going to use our other two screws that are remaining and the nuts that we have remaining as well. So yeah, just going to screw those all, and I'll come back to you once I've screwed those in. So it's literally a case of using the BA, the other two BA2s and the other BA5s, and a little bit of thread lock. and we need to pop on the longer of the arms here. Just need to squeeze that on, so squeeze that on. 1 and 2. And that is step 14 completed.